probably want to mute that. Are you good?
Yeah.
Welcome, everyone. Welcome, everyone. We're just now getting started. Thank you for your patience. The beautiful process of live stream.
Hola May, hola Araceli, thank you so much. Thank you for being here with us. So as we get started, you guys will notice, for those of you that are here with us on Zoom, we have the chat and the Q&A. It's much easier if can you hear me? Can you hear me well? Let's do a little sound check. How's the sound?
So the sound is going to be best on Facebook and Zoom. For those of you who are tuning in via Instagram, the link to our Facebook Live that's happening right now is in our bio, so you can go check it out and join us through either Facebook or Zoom.
So we have everything from sounds good to great. All right, sound check complete. Thank you all. A little quiet, but I can hear you. Very quiet. Okay, so if you're hearing me, most people, so only two kind of quiets came in, maybe three. I might have missed one. So if you hear me quiet, let's do a check your audio. It might be
And to wear
okay.
headphones.
All right.
Headphones
I like what Jerry said. All right, Jerry. So I'm gonna go check the audio settings
on this computer.
I'm gonna go check. I'll be right back. So we're gonna check the audio settings to increase the mic. Okay. Okay, so we've increased the gain on the mic. Hopefully that'll help. So thank you, Jerry. We've picked up the gain on the mic a bit. And from here on out, if you don't hear well, please check your audio as well. Maybe raise your volume.
So welcome everyone to our Hape workshop and virtual ceremony. This is the first time we're doing a virtual ceremony via this platform. So we're super excited to share with you all and to talk about Hape medicine and the sacred plant medicine tool, ally, and healer that the tobacco is in the sacred form of snuff. And so before we get started, I just want to give us a little bit of an outline of where we're going today and how the flow of our time will be. We're going to devote the first hour to diving into Hape Q&A, and really we got some really wonderful questions that came in, and so we're going to spend about the first hour answering most of those questions. We're going to get down to the nitty gritty and give you guys a live demo on how to self-administer and talk about some of the benefits of utilizing Hape and how to have a Hape practice and to be able to share Hape with other people. And so we're going to cover this in the first hour, and then we'll transition into our online ceremony. We have some incredible tribe medicine musicians that are going to log in and join us for the online ceremony. I'll be playing some music, we'll be praying and sharing together in this way. So if you don't already have your Hape easily accessible, make sure to grab it, and whatever other medicines, your smudge, your sage, your copal, find a nice spot, hopefully by your altar, where you can commune with this prayer together, and where we can do a study and have a community celebration. in this way. So welcome. It is our pleasure to be with you all.
Thank you for being here. Love you. I'm always curious where's everybody at right now. So if you guys want to just type in the chat real quick where you all at right now, I'd love to hear about that. So we got Toronto, Canada. We got Ohio, Portland, Southern Valley, Germany, Costa Rica, Maryland, Canada, Austin, Texas, New York City, Minneapolis, Nashville, Fort Lauderdale, North Carolina, Vegas, baby, Milford, LA, Sacramento, Magna Bay, Finland, Fairbanks, Alaska, North Carolina, Washington, D.C., Southern Carolina in the house. Oh, guys, thank you so much. It's so beautiful to know that I'm part of a global family, that we choose something in our lives. In this case, it's a path of nature. But we have different words, plant medicine. But we've all chosen this path, and then we get to share it together. Finland, my God, that's literally on the other side of the world right now. And it's just beautiful. So thank you for opening your hearts to me. Uh, I thank the Creator for giving me a heart that's open to you. Um, and I ask the ancestors to be here with us, to guide us in this sharing, that everything that's produced here be something that edifies our lives, that feeds our soul. May everything that we cultivate together in this little blink of an eye that we're going to share in this moment, may the cultivation of it be awesome. May it be beautiful for you. May it be beautiful for me. May it be beautiful for the whole world around us. Um, so thank you for being here so much. I have a technical issue. I need to. Didn't you want to find the?
The map, right?
Yeah, we're gonna look for the. Is it here? No.
Just bear with us. Give us 30 seconds. It seems like our Facebook stream isn't working.
We gotta get the Facebook stream up. So, guys, we have the chat. If you're on Zoom, you can type your questions into the chat, or you can use the Q&A log. For us, it's easier if you use Q&A, but if you want to type in the chat, go for it. I think it's important in these times to reflect on how beautiful it is to have even a small piece of nature near us. If, for example, out of all the places in the world that we travel, there's always so much nature. And yet when this shift began, we found ourselves in a city. It's not incredibly urban, it's suburban, but not nearly the same as being a Finca Biwasi or somewhere where there's more nature in Costa Rica. And the odds of this happening for us are very astronomical, but it's very interesting because it's also shown us how to extract maximum juice from the smallest opportunity. One, the few trees that that are around us, we've become more aware of them. Two, the few birds that are around us, sound a lot brighter, a lot stronger. And then three, it sparked a motivation in us when we saw that we were in this suburban environment, not with the amount of nature that we would normally be surrounded with. One of the first things that we did was we went to like a Home Depot that they have here. We went to the garden section. We bought, and maybe later on, we'll show you guys, but just outside of here, we have several medicinal plants, some edible plants, and more than having that little bit of food, because that's not going to feed anybody. It was about having that nature close to us, having those plant medicines. So we have three different types of mint. We had a fennel that didn't do so well. We have basils. Uh, we have oregano. We have lavender. We have rosemary. We have lemongrass. And literally, that's just in a bunch of pots just outside. So this experience, while it happened to us where it was least expected, and you always think, oh, I forgive or I'm connected to nature. But when you go deeper into forgiveness, when you go deeper into nature, you find that you can always be more connected. And that's something that we've learned now. By being here, we've learned how to connect deeper with less. So imagine as we hold that space and we cultivate that lesson when we go back into the abundance of nature that we are literally accustomed to, how much deeper that connection is going to be, how much more appreciation has been gained, how much more love and relationship has been developed. So that's one of the beautiful things that for me, and I think for both of us, that connection with nature on a whole new level through a whole new experience is one of the most beautiful things that we've had in relationship. So having nature close to us, having the rapé and the mambe close to us, as Taita Juanito would say, it's a gift. And in these times, we have to take advantage of those gifts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Are we on Facebook now?
Yeah, we're
How do we find it so that?
Don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it?
Unless you want to share it on your page.
Okay.
So I want to also take the opportunity to introduce ourselves a little bit because many of you know us through our Hape and through our Four Visions market, but you don't know us personally. And so this is Carlos, and my name is Mariah. And we are plant lovers, devoted to our Earth Mother. He mentioned our teacher, Taito Juanito Chindoy. He is a teacher from the Amazonian region, and he is a masterful healer. And so we train under him and support him with his work. And through our studies with the plant medicine cultures, we've been blessed to come into contact with many, many different indigenous tribes all over the Amazon. And so Four Visions Market was birthed from our studies, from our connections, and from this desire to support the indigenous peoples and their medicines and their art, and to be a vehicle to bring these medicines and make them more accessible to the West. And so here we are. We're about 2 years into this vision, and we're so grateful to be here today, talking with you all, connecting with you all, getting a chance to share a little bit about Hape. And so the intention behind today really came because we are so very humbled by the way in which Hape is growing in its popularity, in people's awareness of this medicine, and in its use in Western culture. Through my own personal path and through my own story, Hape has completely changed my life and has been such an incredible ally to me throughout my spiritual path. And so it truly warms our hearts to see the way in which people are getting access to this medicine and really utilizing it as a powerful tool for healing, for cleansing, and for communion with nature, as Carlos was saying. And so there's so many questions about this medicine, and that's what happens when a plant walks out of the jungle and finds its way into a continent that up until 20 years ago it was never seen before. And so we get many, many questions all the time about Hape, and this was the intention for originally creating this workshop, to start to answer questions, to start to create a space where there's dialogue, to support you in whatever stage of your practice you're in, to answer the questions that you need to keep going forward. We call it a practice because when you choose any plant to work with, whether it be chamomile in your teas and your baths, or whether it be one of the master plants such as tobacco, such as yahe, such as coca, the power that these master plants contain is infinite. They are in themselves semi-gods and hold the wisdom and the ancestral memory of all of creation. And so when we choose to work with these plants, when we begin a journey with these plants, it very much becomes a practice, one that can take you for many, many years, can be your whole lifetime. And the beauty of these plants is that they often have a way of coming and going in our lives. And so we're going to talk a little bit about how to establish a practice. We're going to answer some questions about frequency of use, about the different plants that are in the medicine, and get started like that, beginning to shed some more clarity, beginning to dive a little deeper into the nitty gritty of this medicine so that you have a better understanding of what it is that we're working with. And also, if you choose to be sharing it with other people, that you have more tools that you can utilize to share this sacred medicine. And so we're going to start at the beginning. We got about 25 questions that came in beforehand. And so Carlos is going to be keeping track of the questions that come in, and we'll try and get to as many as we can. And so we're going to start with the basics for anyone who perhaps has never heard of Hape or perhaps has never worked with Hape. And we're going to go from there, kind of increasing in some of the depth of the questions. We will address more of the spiritual connection to Hape after we handle the groundwork, the basics, the foundation. So what is Hape? That's a really good question to start with. Hape is a tobacco snuff that is found in use across dozens of different indigenous tribes all over the Amazon, dating back as far back as the 3,000 years. And so what they've found through the study, through the simulation of this plant medicine throughout the different cultures, is that each tribe developed their own practices, traditions, recipes. Each tribe, depending on the region that they are from, uses different plants that are local to their area and have their own traditional uses. Some tribes use the Hape for healing, for cura. Other tribes use it to have successful hunts for their village and to go out and gather food with intention, prayer, and vigilance. Other tribes have used the Hape for communion with spirit, because tobacco is a plant that is used to send our prayers up to the heavens, up to the celestial realms. And so in that way, the Hape serves as a powerful channel for us to connect heaven to earth. And so it's a snuff, meaning that Hape is medicine of the earth and medicine of the air, because we blow it up our nostrils and we utilize our breath to connect with both the earth realms and the celestial realms. And so when utilizing the Hape, traditionally the materials used to administer the Hape were either bone or bamboo. Nowadays, we can find Hape applicators. Tepis or creepies are the traditional names for the Hape applicators. You can find them in many, many different materials. There's glass applicators made these days, woods of all different kind. And so the key to a good applicator is a really great thing to talk about, and we're going to get to it in a minute. But first, specifically talking about the process of administering it. So it's either blown up the nose by someone else, or you can administer it to yourself through a personal exhalation, forcefully directing the Hape up your nostril and up to your pineal gland and to your cerebral. And so in this way, the Hape medicine is incredibly cleansing. It's incredibly purifying for our sinuses, for our respiratory system, because what it literally does is it clears out any debris, any congestion, spiritually, energetically, and physically, that might be residing in the respiratory tract. And it is incredibly, it will produce phlegm in the sense of excess that is being removed from the sinuses, and also help to awaken the senses, to open up the mind, still the mind, and bring you into a place of connection, a place of communion. And so really going back to what Carlos opened with, this essence of desiring to connect with nature. So many of us are feeling this call during these times, as the world in many ways is going through a wake-up call, a massive transformation process. And so this desire to return to nature is very strong within many of us during these times. And so the hape is an incredible tool wherever we are in the world to be able to connect with nature through connecting to the sacred plants. And that is one of the main ways that most people in today's day and age utilize the hape, to return to their connection with spirit, to return to their connection with all of creation. And so, is there anything that you want to add about the use of hape and the intention behind it?
See, one, we noticed that in all plant cultures, uh, from tribe to tribe, and even what they call clans, I've heard stories that even so clans are of the same tribe, but they're different clans within the tribe. They also change recipes, and it's not just the rapé; it's other plant medicines as well. They have different ways of or different prayers, or as you said, different applications. And I mean, what I've heard Taita Juanito say when it comes to a plant medicine is one, from the heart. Use a plant medicine when you feel the calling in your heart. And two, as far as intention, again, everything that I've heard Taita say about intention is to have an intention that is good and have it from the heart. And when you place that like that, I think only good things can come. Yeah, that's been my experience as well.
That's beautiful. I think that's such a great point, because a lot of people ask us if they need to be initiated to use hape, or if they need to go through any sort of preparatory process or training to be able to work with the hape. And the wonderful thing about this plant medicine is that it's so accessible, and really with very minimal instruction and guidance, most of which we can cover in today's workshop, you can start working with that plant on your own. And what I've found through my own process and journey with the hape, as well as through the blessing and the honor of being able to support many people over the years with starting a hape practice, is it's a plant of empowerment, meaning that it's accessible in the sense that it allows us to have a relationship with it, allows us to get to know it in a very fluid way, as well as allows us to connect with it in order to bring us teachings, guidance, and confirmation about our path, about clarity in decisions and life choices and situations. And in this way, very easily, we can start to have this dynamic, this relationship with the hape that brings a lot of empowerment. It brings clarity and it brings centeredness along our path, as well as helps to ground in our own personal medicine and our purpose. When we have this tool, this ally that we can utilize in prayer, in communion, to bring us back, to ground us, to literally return us to that place of remembering, that place of connection, that place of light, that place of love, it very easily becomes an ally. And when we have allies, Taita, our teacher, talks a lot about how all plants can be allies. And through your spiritual path, through your exploration, through your own personal journey, you start to meet different plants that are meant for you. Each plant has a purpose when they come to you. And so over time, we start to create like a toolbox of our plant allies, the ones that specifically have called to us, specifically have come to us at certain points in our path to teach us something, or to bring us protection, strength, fortitude. And so very much like that, that is the relationship that you can form with the hape. And that's one of the reasons why it's such an incredible plant medicine to have access to at this time and in these days and ages that we live in. So it's very special. So with that, we are going to get into how to apply hape, and we're going to video the personal application. And we're doing this so that you can really, for those of you who have never seen hape applied, never applied yourself, start to have a little bit of a reference point. And if you want to choose to get some medicine and start working with it, you can feel confident to begin this practice. So before we start, I'm just going to talk one more minute about essentially what type of place we need to be in when we apply ourselves. And I'll talk a little bit about the intention behind serving and the intention about self-administering specifically. So like I mentioned, you can either have hape applied to you or you can serve yourself. And for many of us beginning the path, a really great way to start to establish your relationship with the hape is through developing a self-administering practice. Now, it's funny because a lot of people have expressed to me either hesitation or doubt when it comes to self-administering themselves, and it's normal to have more confidence to work with the hape when you're first starting by having someone else administer it to you. But going back to this principle of utilizing this plant medicine as a doorway into your own empowerment and connection with nature, 100% it is easy to learn how to self-administer and is a really beautiful way to start to work with your own energy, because what you find with learning and studying this art of self-administering the medicine is that it allows you to understand energy more fully by learning how to direct it within your own being, learn how to center yourself and organize your energy and literally draw in the energy in moments when you might feel scattered, disorganized, or feeling unclear. So we often want to use hape when we're in that place of confusion, of scatteredness, because hape is a tool that brings everything back to center, really allows us to drop in and ground ourselves again. And so one of the big things is learning how to find that place of connection with that place of centeredness, even when things are scattered, even when there's that place of confusion or energetic scatteredness within the being. And so before you self-administer, to give yourself a few minutes in prayer, in stillness, to allow yourself to drop in and commune with the medicine that you're going to be working with, to say a prayer. And we'll talk a little bit later about specific prayers for the hape, but for now, really just allowing this intention of a pure heart, an open heart, and a desire to connect with nature being the prayer that you set into your application and your prayer with the hape. And so when you've centered yourself, when you found that place of clarity to the best of your ability in that particular moment, you can open your prayer and place the desired amount of hape on your palm. And so people...
Can we turn the camera?
Yes, please. So people on Instagram won't be able to see this demo, but those on Facebook and Zoom will be able to see it. So a quick thing about dosage. This is a larger dose size. For someone starting out, I would start with a quarter to a third of this amount. Starting really small, you can always work your way up, but as you start to gain confidence with the medicine. And so you want to serve what you'll use for both sides. So you administer it one nostril at a time unless you have a double nostril applicator. And you put the full dosage in your hand. You allow yourself to pray over the medicine, giving thanks to the sacred plants and to the peoples that prayed and made and created this healing medicine with all of their love and devotion. And then whatever prayer you're carrying in that particular moment, for centeredness, for grounding, for clarity, for stillness, for an open heart. And then with your self-applicator will have a long side and a short side. The long side of the applicator is for the nostril, and the shorter side goes in the mouth. And so you will, with the long side, scoop up half of the dosage, understanding that we'll save the other half for the second side. And it's good to scoop the hape towards you, understanding that we are wanting to direct all of our energy, all of our power, and all of our prayer inwards into our heart. And then when you're ready, drawing forth the breath of life from your solar plexus, from the place of power within, connecting with all of your life force energy. You'll inhale, and at the rise of the inhale, place the long side of the karipi in your nostril and the short side in your mouth, and you'll exhale to blow. And we always want to do the second side right away to balance the energies of the left and right sides. And then you can sit in meditation.
Okay, just want to do a really quick sound check. We had some comments about the sound. Is everybody hearing okay? Just a quick sound check. Okay, excellent. Thank you so much. So a few things. A question that's come up a few times is the dose. So let's review that for a second. When you're starting out, it's good to put enough that when you flatten the rapé in the palm of your hand, it's about a dime. And then if you feel cold, you can go up to a nickel size, a quarter size. And another way of measuring it is when you start out, maybe just thumbnail, just when you flatten it out, that's as big as your thumbnail for those that don't have US coins. And then make it bigger and bigger as you go. That's about the dose. And you'll experiment with it, and that's the beautiful thing about nature, is that we play with nature. While the spiritual path is serious, all the great teachers that I've ever heard about or met always talk about laughter and play. So play with your dose, enjoy it, and see where different doses take you in your journey with the rapé. There's another question that comes up often, which is frequency of use. And we'll tie that into addiction in a second. So frequency of use has to do with what you feel in your heart. That's first and foremost. Your rapé practice is a meditation practice. So as often as you feel called, this is how often you use it. Your rapé practice is also a meditation tool. I know many business professionals that have high stress environments, and they have rapé in their car, and if the meeting or whatever in the work is getting a little, they take a 15-minute break, they go to their car, or they close their office door, depending on their situation. They have their prayer, they have rapé, and they go back to work, calm, centered, focused. So this is when it comes to frequency of use, there's no such thing as too much, because the rapé is a medicine that's taking something out of you. So if you're right now using rapé 10 times a day, there will come a time when you use it less, but there's a reason why there's a calling in your heart to do it now. Maybe you're using it to replace a different addiction. You know, maybe you have an addiction with food, or you have an addiction with certain thoughts or behaviors or patterns. Maybe it's even smoking cigarettes. You know, I know many people that have used rapé to get over their cigarette smoking. So in terms of addiction, it's a good thing to have. You know, rapé practice is a good thing to have. And I would say use it as many times as you need to, based on what you're working with. And as far as tobacco, we have to understand that tobacco, according to the teachings that we've heard, was never meant to be inhaled. So when rapé, it has a different process in the body than inhaling smoke. It has a different purpose than inhaling smoke. And so what I've seen through empirical study is that you can use rapé, and I've seen people that use rapé, this is where I'm getting it from, to overcome their addiction to like cigarette tobacco, for example.
I want to talk a little bit more about.
There's a question here: if a right side first, then left, or does it matter? And if so, why?
I've heard different tribes use different traditions with that. The Huriku would recommend that you always apply with the right side first, and our teacher, who comes from the Gano lineage, says that it doesn't matter. And so each tribe has their own practices with it. And you could tune in and do your own research, and then also follow your own intuition. But the key is that you always want to apply both sides. So even if there is discomfort after the first side, and I'll talk a little bit about possible symptoms that the hape could incur in a minute, but even if there's that resistance to taking the second application on the second side, it's very, very important because this balances the energy and helps to complete the process. And it always brings in sweetness. So even if that first side was really tough, the second one alleviates and helps to complete the process of removing whatever stagnant energies were there and whatever needs to be released in that moment through that prayer. So tobacco is a plant that has been so misunderstood by our culture. And Carlos talking about how the indigenous or the traditional uses with this plant never was with the intention of inhaling. This really shows the power that this plant has, because we've seen through our own cultures and the manipulation of this plant over the last centuries has led to disease, it's led to illness, and it's led to harm. And so I really am so humbled by the medicine and the teachings that the hape delivers and the relationship with tobacco delivers to us, because it literally gives us the opportunity to relearn how to work with this sacred medicine in a good way and to heal whatever story is there within our bloodline, within our lineage, within the use within our family and within our culture of tobacco, to learn how to heal that and transform and return to the essence of tobacco, which is a power plant. It holds tremendous wisdom and teachings, and literally even in the fact that it has the ability to both harm and heal shows the tremendous power that it carries. And so one thing that I've found through the practice of hape is that it gives us a doorway into investigating this relationship and healing this relationship, literally purifying this relationship. And this brings tremendous blessing to our lives, to our loved ones, and to the Earth Mother, because we're literally bringing justice to a plant that has been manipulated and changed and created murkiness around its healing powers over the last centuries. And so I just wanted to point that out, because a lot of people ask us about the addictive qualities about hape. They ask what the difference is between utilizing hape versus smoking a cigarette. And the truth is, it's very, very, very different, simply through the intention behind it and the prayer that is placed into it. If you go down to the specifics of how the hape is made, first of all, hape is used using a small leaf tobacco, so it's not genetically modified to produce high quantities of nicotine, and it's created with prayer, literally going into the jungle, going into nature, searching for the plants that are calling to be mixed with the hape, receiving inner guidance from Mother Nature, from Pachamama, and from the traditions of the tribes to cultivate, to receive the plants and to produce the hape medicine with tremendous reverence, tremendous prayer. Traditionally, in the making of hape, that is a ceremony in itself. People play music, people spend time in prayer, in meditation, honoring, celebrating, praising the hape medicine, so that when the final product comes out, it is of the highest vibration of love, of light, and of intention. And so this is a really important element to understanding hape and beginning to work with it, starting to see all of these different facets within it, and starting to look within and see what our own relationship is with tobacco in general. So I want to mention some of the different symptoms that that hape use can create, so that you know what to expect. Hape, when applied, can create a variety of different symptoms. I mentioned the primary symptom of connection, of groundedness, of centeredness, of stillness of the mind. And it can also create other physical symptoms like dizziness, like nausea. You can feel burning sensation up here around your third eye and your pineal gland. And so there can be a wide range of symptoms and effects of use of the hape. You can even vomit or purge with the hape, and this happens as well. And so the first thing to know when you're beginning a hape practice is to expect yourself to go through a process. It might be an energetic process, it might be a physical process, and all of it is beautiful, and all of it is normal and powerful in its own right. Through physical cleansing and physical purification, we are cleansing the body and the mind and the spirit. Through spiritual alignment and organization, we are brought clarity, insight, inner guidance. And so to treat a hape prayer as a ceremony, whether it's a 5-minute ceremony that you're doing, on the go throughout your day to check in, or whether it's a longer communion that you have at night with your whole altar set up and the candles lit, and you go into an hour, 2-hour communion with the hape. So there's many different ways to utilize the hape, and to really allow yourself to anticipate these different reactions and to hold that space for yourself. And if you're trying it for the first time, it's really, really great to do it with someone else who can help to hold that space for you. For example, if you need help going to the bathroom, someone who can help to facilitate. The reactions don't tend to be as strong as, for example, drinking ayahuasca, but the truth is they can be, because tobacco is such a powerful plant that heals and cleanses. And some of the indigenous tribes, specifically in Brazil, their medicine is hape. They don't work with other plant medicines, and so they utilize it in much stronger doses and in much more frequency. In a hape ceremony, you could have 4, 5, 6 applications of literally a mountain of hape being served to you through a huge bone pipe that has a lot of power and administered with a lot of intention and prayer from the shaman. And this can induce an extreme process of purification and healing. And so there's many, many different ways to work with this plant medicine. And now, with the transition into it being more available in Western culture, there's also that other element of how we utilize it in our day-to-day as not being in the jungle, and how we continue to utilize our connection to nature to take us there, to its essence, to its origin, and really utilizing it from this place of reverence, from this place of respect, and really honoring the tradition and the teachings that it holds within. And so in this way, there are so many different ways to have a relationship with tobacco and hape. And Carlos mentioned frequency of use, and he mentioned that you really have to tune in and listen to your heart. And I want to re-stress this point, because 100% you need to feel the call to work with the medicine, and that will be the first sign that the medicine is calling to have a communion with you. So when you tune in, when you have that desire, when you have that inclination, that message coming through, listen to it, follow it, and trust that intuition. And like that, your relationship with the plant will strengthen, and the messages that come when the hape calls to you will be clearer, and because that antenna is being built and fortified. Someone asked a really great question, and they said, is it normal to have strong dizziness every single time that you have hape? And so it's normal to have a variety of different reactions with the hape, but I want to answer this question because depending on your relationship with tobacco, it could be that you never have smoked tobacco, you have no experience prior to be experience with tobacco. So depending on what your background is with tobacco, your reaction to the hape, which is tobacco snuff, will be different. And so for someone who's really sensitive to tobacco, for someone who has no prior experience working with this plant, it could be very, very strong for you. And if you utilize it once, twice, and it's really, really strong, and you don't have a calling to continue with it, perfect. You've met that plant. It's done what it meant to do with you. You have received the medicine that you were meant to receive, and you can rest it there and let it be for now until perhaps it calls to you at a later date. If you are having these strong reactions, for example, every time utilizing it, vomiting, purging, and you want to continue working with it, we recommend that you find someone who is practiced in the hape traditions, who is either indigenous, who has studied and trained with indigenous healers, who can support you in developing a relationship with this plant, because there's a lot that goes on through the process of cleansing that we don't see from our naked eye. Spiritually, energetically, so much movement, so much organization, so much healing and purification is taking place through a process of communion with the hape. And so it's really important, on one side, to empower ourselves through this plant, but then the other side of it is to really honor the power that it has and to not take it lightly when you do need support, when you do need guidance and someone to hold space for you to work with it.
When it comes to healing with a plant, so it's a very first I wanted to clarify. There's one question that's fast. So yes, hape is a charred tobacco, which does come into a type of ash. It's not ashy. It's more charred, and it's often mixed with other barks, herbs, or plants, depending on the intention of the rapé, the type of purpose that it's used for. And so when it comes to healing with hape, I think the first thing we need to look at are the words of Taita Juanito, where he describes that everything is connected. So our mind, body, and soul are connected. And that we form part of creation, and creation is a part of us. And nature is a part of creation and a part of us. So we are a part of creation and a part of nature. So because everything is connected, all the plants are here to support us. As Taita Juanito says, that the grandparents teach, there are brothers and sisters. There are older brothers and sisters that are here to help us, to guide us, to help us evolve, change, transform, and grow. So when we come to the question of hape, we can understand that it can be used to heal the mind, the body, or the spirit, the soul, depending on what you need. And if you don't know what you need, the plant knows what you need. But all healing with all plant medicine, Taita Juanito explains, starts with the heart. First, in being honest with yourself from the heart. Is my heart truly open to this medicine? Is my heart truly open to healing? Is my heart truly open to letting go and to receiving? So everything starts from the heart. So when you need healing for the body, or you need healing for your mind, or you need healing for your spirit, you come to the plant, any plant, but in this case hape, with that intention. And you dialogue with the plant. Prayer is nothing more than a conversation. It's just a conversation taking place between heaven and earth. You here on earth and the celestial realm where you're sending your prayers. In this case, the plant is the cable. Okay, it's the fiber optic line that you're using to transmit this prayer, and it's going to deliver back to you the packet that you're requesting, that healing that you're requesting. And I think that's it's simple but powerful and true. This is the way to connect with plants. This is the way to use plants to heal mind, body, and soul. It's through an honest heart, an open heart, and a dialogue with this plant about your intentions, and then connecting with it. And the more you connect with that plant, the more that its mystical library, as Juanito would say, opens to you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much. It's so beautiful when we start to investigate the simplicity in prayer. And prayer truly is authenticity. It's a place in which we can surrender ourselves completely and give ourselves from the heart. And when we do it so authentically, it becomes so powerful. And so many people ask us, what are some prayers that we can utilize with the hape? And how do I pray with the hape with integrity if I don't know the traditional ikaros or the traditional prayers? In my opinion, more important than the traditional ikaros and the traditional prayers is that intention of an open heart and coming from that place of authenticity and communion. And so when starting out, really allowing your intuition to guide you, you can speak the words aloud in English or whatever language is natural to you to pray in, and allow your heart to be the vessel, the vehicle for which your spirit, your essence, dialogues with the hape. And like that, a profound weaving happens where you are not in the place of the mind, but rather your energy, your essence is in communion with the hape, and the hape is able to receive all of that. In fact, prayer is just a way of giving some guidance, giving some direction so that the hape can enter in. But the hape, like all plant medicines, is infinitely wise and knows us better than we know ourselves because it is pure nature. And even though that's what we are, so often because we have these minds, we get pulled off course or we get disconnected from our source essence and our origin as nature. And so the plants allow us to come back to that place, and simply through your communion with this place of reverence, with this place of respect, with this place of openness to receive whatever messages are meant to come through, to pray in whatever way you're being guided to, your relationship, your rituals, your practice around the hape deepens and develops and grows. And so it's something that's really natural. It's something that evolves beautifully as you go learning about this medicine and developing your relationship with this medicine. Oh, wow. Okay, so we're already coming up on that first hour. So let's talk really quickly about administering to someone else. And
I think I wanted to say something real quick because
Okay.
we're coming up on the first hour, and I don't know, you might have to leave soon. So I wanted to tell you real quick about a project that we started for Hape lovers. It's called Hape Lovers Club. So we have a pilot program that we started, and we've been slowly developing. It's a way to get Hape lovers their Hape every month, plus a rapé of the month, usually something more unique or rare that's not available in larger quantities. It also saves you a lot of money. The way that we've designed the club, you get free shipping, you get a 10% discount code that you can use all year long as many times as you like across the website. You get your rapé guaranteed. And so if you guys are interested and you want to see the project that we started, it's hapeloversclub.com. Just go check it out later on and let us know what you think. Join if you like, and let us know what you would like to see as a member or potential member as part of the club member package or benefits, as they say. So hapeloversclub.com, and yeah, let us know your thoughts. Thank you.
I want to just mention one other thing that's really cool about this club. You get to kind of enter into a container of a study with other hape lovers and people who are also utilizing the hape with more dedication, with more consistency. And so we're really excited because in this special group that we're forming in the context of this club, we are bringing in different indigenous elders and hape makers, and we are getting their teachings through a series of interviews, and these interviews are only available for club members at this time.
It's going to be exclusive, as they say.
Yeah.
Exclusive for club members.
And so each month, one of these interviews is released, and that's a really key element to what makes this program really special, because for those of you who are wanting to deepen in your studies with the hape, a key element is starting to get some more teachings, more contact with the indigenous people, and getting to hear their perspective based off of their tribes and their culture and their region of how the hape is used.
Yeah. So let us know what you think about that. We love your thoughts. There's a few questions here that are, I think, important. So someone's asking me to type. I'm going to type in the chat real quick.
I'm going to talk about how to clean your pipeline first.
Espérate, there's a... So there's a great question about sinus infections. And Mariah talked about this a little bit, but I think it's worth, if someone's asking, to bring it full circle. So when I started working with Hape, I would get a very strong headache. It felt like an iron band across my forehead. And I asked Teta Juanito about it, and he said, well, you should probably clean out your nostrils in the ocean, and you should change your rapé. So I did that. So one option is a neti pot. Okay, that's one. Because oftentimes we have many things in the nasal passages. And so the neti pot will help drain it out.
And just for those who don't know what a neti pot is, it's just a really great Ayurvedic tool where you are able to filter water, salt water.
Yeah, Google netipot.com and you'll see what it is. The other thing is, you can, if you live near the ocean and you're able to go in it, especially with these times, you want to flush your nostrils out in the salt water. Also, taking a break from the rapé until the swelling comes down, then change the rapé that you're working with. Okay, these are some basic things. You also have to look at the applicator you're using. Is it old? Does it have mold? Should you change it out? Should you clean it? And Mariah's going to talk about that in a second. But finally, as Mariah said, if you see that you have a calling to work with rapé and you've done all these steps to avoid sinus inflammation or other repetitive discomforts in the body, then it's time to go talk to Taita Juanito and tell him, look, and explain to him, and he can give you a cura and clean the energy. Or you can go to a Hape shaman and then speak to them about what you're experiencing and see what counsel they give you. So that's the best way that we have found up until now to deal with sinus inflammations and other repetitive discomforts that might come up through a rapé practice.
And I'll just add one more thing about that. So each body is different. You have to take into account the different herbs that are in each hape. So when Carlos said switch the hape, what he's really insinuating there is that there could be an herb in that particular hape blend that is not
blend, right,
aligning with your own body's constitution, what your body is needing.
Yeah, you might just have an allergy or whatever.
You might have an allergy. So that's when we switch up the hape and then
the blend, as you said.
The type of hape. And then another really key, two really other big things is one, many tribes practice diets where they take breaks from the medicine of the hape. And what I found in my own practice is that a diet without the hape is equally as powerful as a diet with the hape, because what we're doing without the hape, when we take a few days off to sustain, to come back into our own vibration without the use of the hape plant, and what we allow ourselves to return back, it gives us greater reverence, it gives us greater gratitude, it gives us greater opening and sensitivity to return back to communion and study with the hape. So the Yawanawa, for example, they are really big advocates of a 3-day break, and they do this, once a month, every couple months, whenever they feel called, but the traditional is like a 3-day break from the rapé. And then I'll just mention really quickly, another incredible practice for hape lovers is to use nasya oil. Nasya oil is just a sesame oil that you put up your nostrils, and it moisturizes and cleanses your entire nasal passages. And the truth is, hape use, sometimes there's like some hape that gets accumulated up there, and to moisturize and really take care of your nasal passages will just be really supportive to maintaining a healthy hape practice. And these are just all things that you kind of can go investigating as need be in your own practice. You may find that right now you don't experience any of these symptoms, but then when we enter into a drier season, or sometimes the cold season of winter, you need to take a little bit of extra care to support your nasal passages and your respiratory system if you're working with the hape.
So real quick, some basic questions. When you're going to apply the rapé, it's good to blow your nose first, as best you can. If you apply the rapé and then you feel that a lot of discharge or mucus came out of the nose, it's okay. Blow your nose when you have to blow it. Don't just hold it there, because after you clean your nostrils, you can then go ahead and apply yourself a second time, even if it's a smaller dose. So don't feel that you're wasting it blow your nose if a lot of mucus builds up, or as you need to because you need to breathe, and then you can go ahead and apply again. There's a question about swallowing rapé. If it's like saliva, mucus saliva, just spit it out. You know,
It's cleaning.
yeah,
It's coming out
just
for a
spit it
reason.
out. You don't want to take like rapé and swallow it
Mhm.
straight.
One thing about blowing your nose, traditional use is recommended to hold the medicine for at least 30 seconds and then blow your nose. And this will allow the medicine to go as high up as it's going to go and really settle into your system. And then you can exhale and release it. But of course, if you're feeling like you have to blow your nose, you can do that, just to find that balance between trying to keep the medicine in for as long as possible so that it can work on the most profound level with you. So I'm going to talk real quick about how to clean your pipe, and then we'll just keep flowing. There's so many great questions, guys, and we really appreciate getting to see all of the different inquiries that people will have as they start working with the plant medicine. So we're going to do our best to get to as many as possible. How to clean your applicator. Depending on the type of applicator you have, whether it's bone or wood, it requires different materials to clean it and different frequency. If you have a bone applicator, one of the beautiful things about the bone is that there's not jagged edges like there is on the wood, and so it tends to get clogged less frequently. A bamboo or a wood applicator, it can get jagged a little bit more and in the inside of the bamboo and inside of the applicator, excuse me. So it can tend to pick up those Hape residues more fully, and then even as frequently as once a month, that buildup will come. And what it does is it kind of prevents a proper application because your applicator is clogged, which obviously no fun, no one likes this. And so a common question that we get is, what is the best way to cleanse your Hape applicator physically and then also energetically, because it's taking on and transmitting a lot of energy and also moving a lot of energy. And so there's both of these elements that you have to take a look at. How to clean it physically. We recommend with a Q-tip. You can use a small amount of either water, depending on the type of wood. If it has a seal that won't allow the water to fester and grow mold, you can use like a couple drops of water on the Q-tip and just allow it to go inside.
Or an almond oil.
Well, this is what I would say if it doesn't have a seal, if the wood doesn't have a seal, or bone. You can use almond oil or sesame oil or coconut oil even.
Yeah, I would skip the water unless absolutely necessary.
Yeah.
I always use an oil.
Oils are really great, and to do it as frequently as you feel is necessary. With the bone, 100%, you want to use an oil all the time. And so that's physically. Q-tips really great. If you have one of those like brushes, pipe cleaners, that's really great. And so you just want to try and get out all that gunk to the best of your ability on the inside of the pipe in order to provide the cleanest blow or application. Energetically cleaning your applicator, you can utilize a variety of different cleansing agents. So you can use a lotion, like an agua de Florida with different plants and herbs in it, infused into it, and you can utilize this on the outside of your pipe and pass it through your hands, bless it, and give thanks. You can utilize smudging agents like copal, sage, and pass them over your pipe regularly, and allow that prayer of purification, of release of anything that has gotten attached to the pipe over the process of consistent use. And you can also place it in the full moonlight, in the new moonlight, just like you would your crystals, and you can let it be cleansed through the moonlight like that with prayer and intention. And so yes, sage copal. So the key here is really taking care of our tools and really ensuring that they are being kept up and that they are being cared for, so that when we go to work with them, they can provide us the greatest healing power, because we have placed our prayer into them. We've been working with them in a good way, and we've been utilizing them and caring for them with reverence and with respect.
And one small thing that's preventative is when you're done with the applicator, if you're in a group setting, you have to be careful where you're going to direct, but you take the applicator, whether it's your Caribe or your Tepi, and you're done using it, and then you just, there you go, you blow out the excess, making sure you're not blowing into somebody's eye, right? And then that's just one way to reduce the buildup that can happen inside your pipe. So one question here is it okay to mix two different Four Visions rapés? So traditionally, I don't know what they do, but I know that when I started with rapé, I was very called to make different blends, and I played with that for a while, and it was a beautiful experience. And then that passed, you know. So if you feel called in your heart that you want to play with the blends and you want to make different blends, I would say to follow the words of Taita Juanito, to do it with a good intention in your heart, for a good purpose, with a good application, and measure the results. See what results happen. See what you're guided to do from there.
One thing I just want to add is that traditionally, you don't mix hapes. Each hape brings its own formula that's specifically designed based off of a particular ratio of that particular plant, in addition to the hape that was cultivated, that was curated through that hape maker's connection with spirit and connection to the plants. And so that's a unique prayer in itself. And so if we go to the tradition, it's always good to know, well, what would the indigenous people think of that? And so that gives us a little bit of a background, and so just to go following your intuition with it.
And also, if you have different types of rapé, and in the morning you feel called to work with one, and a different one in the afternoon, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if you want to work different rapés, have different reactions or different wisdoms that they bring. So there might be one that you use for work, and maybe one you use at home, and that's perfectly fine. We're getting a few questions. What is the name of the Ayurvedic oil that you recommended?
It's called Nasya oil, Nasya, and it's just sesame oil. So you can use sesame oil.
Okay. And the different types of blows.
Uh-huh.
That's a
I
big.
don't know if we have time to go into that.
Okay. Okay. Whatever you think. I think it'd be good to talk a little bit about the different types of blows, just briefly. Just.
Okay. So we'll talk a little bit
And
about.
then we'll have another. We'll have a. There's a lot of questions.
Yeah.
So this is probably we'll do it. We'll organize another one in 3 weeks' time or so,
Mm-hmm.
and
We'll continue.
We'll continue with the
Mm-hmm.
question. Yeah.
Okay. So within the context of many different cultures, they have their own blows that they developed according to their own relationships with nature and with the animal spirits in their region. And so it's very common to hear about these different animal blows, specifically that the Hunikuin are known for, the Yawanawa are really known for. And so there's famous blows, the anaconda, the hummingbird, the jaguar, and each of them take on the energy of that particular animal. And so in order to understand these blows requires a communion with that particular animal spirit, and a understanding and initiation that takes place between you and one of the indigenous people who are in a position to gift you that knowledge and that information. And so I want to talk a little bit in general about how you can start to work with the soplo, the blow of the hape, very briefly, understanding that it's a very varied topic, and it's actually one of the interviews that we just did with a Hunikuin elder, specifically talking very in depth about the power of the blow. And so for the Hape Lovers Club, I recommend that you check that one out. So when you start working with the blow, when you start tuning into the blow, specifically, I want to talk a little bit about when you start applying someone else, because that's when most of the time we start experimenting with the force of the hape that comes through. And so the first thing to understand is that we are directing our life force energy, our chi energy, our creative life force, and our energy into either ourselves if we're self-administering or we're applying to someone else. And so when we understand energy, when we start to get understanding on whatever that means to us about how to move our own energy, how to direct our energy to someone else, there's many different ways and different circumstances in which the type of energy that we be directing shifts and changes. For example, there are moments when I'm applying someone who needs gentleness but firmness, who needs a centering prayer, but something that's not going to overwhelm them and kick their hats off. Then there's moments in which we need to call upon a stronger force, a force that is going to bring that person into a powerful communion of humility, a place that is going to in some way really just kick off whatever layers of ego might be preventing that person from having a communion with spirit. And from that place, we're going to need a stronger, longer blow that is really connecting with the Earth Mother, that's connecting with the force of the Hape, and that's connecting and calling upon all of the spiritual power that you have cultivated up until this point. And so when we go to this theme of spiritual power, which is very much intertwined with this topic of the different types of blows that you can deliver to someone, spiritual power has many different expressions. And so softness, agility, and focus is equally as powerful as the jaguar, as the tiger, and as the strength of the entire jungle coming through. And so learning how to differentiate and learning how to drive, focusing your spiritual power in that particular way based off of the particular prayer that that person or yourself needs when you tune in to what the intention is behind this particular soplo, this particular hape application. And so when you're applying someone else, there's many different ways in which when you're first starting to work with the hape and the blows of the hape that you can start kind of acclimating yourself to the different ways in which you direct your spiritual power and your spiritual prayer. So I'll demonstrate 2 different blows here, just so you can start to understand like the different energies behind each one. So I'll demonstrate first a softer, gentler, loving blow that I would use specifically, for example, for a woman on her moon, a woman who's in a very deep process, who just needs a little bit of medicine to connect. And so like this, I would blow it gently and with a closing of my tongue to the back of my teeth to seal it at the end. And what this does is it locks the energy so that the blow doesn't come back to me. It doesn't come back on me, and then it goes directly to the person that you're applying. And so this is that softer, gentler, shorter blow. Like that. And then a longer blow, the shorter blow really coming more from the heart, really coming more from the higher chakras. And then the longer blow, you're going to want to call upon the strength of your solar plexus, the strength of your stomach chakra, and really calling forth about from the connection with your earth, with the earth, to drive your spiritual power in a more direct, in a stronger, in a greater expression of that prayer. So you can see I'm using a lot more air for that second blow. I'm coming from my stomach and I'm really directing that energy up and outwards. And then the shorter blow being more of a heart opening blow, a gentle blow, really allowing it to float in or fly in, being very effortless and natural. And so I want to just talk a little bit about applying someone else, since we're here, I have this applicator in my hand. The applicator used to apply someone else is called a tepi. And so this type of applicator has a side for applying and putting it in the mouth, and then a side for the person's nostril. Again, there are tepis that are double nostril, which would have 2 parts here that would allow it to go into both nostrils at the same time. Are you ready for some hape before we go into the ceremony?
Yes.
Okay. So the first thing to really keep in mind when you're serving someone else, it's one of the most intimate experiences energetically. You are literally pouring your energy, pouring your life force, pouring your prayer into someone else. And so energetically speaking, there's a lot that we have to be aware of when we're sharing hape in this way. The first thing is that you always want to be in a centered place before you direct energy into someone else. And so allowing yourself to tune into your own energy, perhaps applying yourself first if you don't feel like you're in that place, and giving yourself kind of a space to drop in, to check in, to center yourself, and to ground yourself. When you feel ready to do that, you will put the dosage in your hand that you will serve.
You want me to go to this camera again?
I don't think it's necessary. That you'll serve to the person. again, just like the self-applicator, you're going to want to put the entire dose in the palm of your hand, flatten it out.
You want to make sure there's tissue handy somewhere.
Yeah, there's right below your feet.
Okay. Hey.
And okay, so we're going to actually open into the second half of this workshop, into the ceremonial part of the workshop through applying Carlos, and then we're going to start to sing and chant and pray and go into this place of communion, of celebration together.
And we have other musicians coming on?
Yep. We have other musicians that will join us, and for those of you who want to turn on your video, we'll turn on your video and we'll create kind of this celestial celebration party atmosphere. And so for those of you who have your hape, if you want to grab it, gather it, and tune in as we transition into the second half of this gathering today, and just allow ourselves to tune into the spirit of tobacco, the spirit of hape. Allow ourselves to tune into the spirit of community here together, all of us like-minded spiritual walkers who are returning to the medicines of the earth. And we all have that in common, whether you know the other people here with you or you've never met. We're family. We come from the same thread and the same message that we are choosing to reclaim.
We come from the same creator.
We come from the same creator. And like this, we're unified. Like this, we are a community. And so let the party begin, let the celebration begin, let the joy begin. And welcome to our virtual ceremony.
I want to share something about the playing of rapé, because sometimes things get very complicated in the mind. The mind creates sometimes a story or noise. And so if you're just starting to work with the rapé, or you've been working with it for whatever time, a day, a year, but whatever the time is, now you feel called to share the rapé. And I think the guide points are very simple. One, be honest with your heart. Where are you? Right? Find your center first. Then when you pray to the rapé, it's just a very simple prayer. It's just that this rapé and that the celestial forces of nature and creation serve this person that you're applying, and you can grow your prayer from there. And then when you apply with the right intention. And I think that's the basic of it, and then there's things about clearing the breath that are important. But I think that's a simple way to start.
And like that, you go learning. The medicine will teach you. Adiós, taita, pinta, mamarón. Laguna Centro, cielo, manda mañerista. Tuco y manda causa vivo. Ongoni. Agro maña cañerea. Mira toña caña. Wika coña cañere. Saru cielo, saru vida. Hendero yotori. Cronisoni. Baunzoni. Ongoni zen. Mira toña cañerea.
Spicy. Are we going to open with a shared rapé prayer? If you want to, sure. What do you think?
So Carlos is asking me to lead us all in a shared hape prayer together, and then we will introduce our first musician, Michael, who is tuning in from Costa Rica and is going to bring us some beautiful music. And so for those of you who have your hape with you, so beautiful. I really just want to give so much thanks and praise to the internet for the opportunity to be here in a ceremonial space together. And to get to commune with Hape virtually. It just doesn't get better than that. Wow, what an honor, what a blessing. And so let us open our hearts together today and give thanks to our Creator and to all of creation and all of nature, to the spirits of the jungle, to the spirits of all the animals and all of the plants that are here accompanying us today in our hearts, regardless of where we are in the world, regardless of how far or how close we are to nature, that they are here within our hearts. And all we have to do is call upon them. All we have to do is remember that they are here, that they have been waiting for us to call upon them and to return to them. Just like our Earth Mother, who is here with us, always, accompanying us, comforting us, holding us, loving us, her children. And so feel free to apply Hape as many times as you feel called over the course of this virtual ceremony, to partake in your mambe if you have it, to smudge your home, to take out your feathers, to bring in this ceremonial frequency, this frequency of praise, this frequency of celebration, this frequency of gratitude, and invite this ceremony into your home so that we can be together through the astral. Aho. Welcome, Michael and Yara. So good to have you with us. Thank you for joining. I want to introduce our dear friends, Michael Harvin and Yara Maria, and their beautiful baby, Ariel, who's there in the center. They are beautiful medicine tribe and walkers of the path, and we are so grateful to get to receive the blessing of their music and their prayer today. So welcome, welcome.
So nice to be here with everyone. So great to connect in this way.
We're feeling so joyful in our hearts after the Courtyard party last night, and so we're super happy to get to share some more music today. And when Ariel's awake, he was sleeping for the party last night, so we get some chance to have some family time and play some music, and just God bless you all in your homes, and bless your Hape.
Let's play some guitar, buddy.
Canta selva, canta, pinta, cielo pinta, es mi Dios de las alturas que me regaló la vida. Canta selva, canta, pinta, cielo pinta, es mi Dios de las alturas que me dio amor y vida. Amo quien te amo, por esa fortaleza vida, en momentos de agonía, vida diosa mucha guía. Ama quien te amo, fuerza, fortaleza, vida, en momentos de agonía, y arriba las estrellas. Le canto a la vida, a la luz y la esperanza, le canto a la selva y al bejuco del viaje, le canto al misterio que se siente y se ve, le canto a mi Dios porque es luz y esperanza. Ama quien te amo, amor, cordillera, selva, montaña que viene a mostrar sabiduría. Ama quien te amo, majero, indio, cristalitas, culacas, que mi Dios lo guarde en vida. Le canto a la vida, a la luz y la esperanza, le canto a la selva y al bejuco del viaje, le canto al misterio que se siente y se ve, le canto a mi Dios porque es luz y esperanza. Canta selva, canta, pinta, cielo pinta, es mi Dios de las alturas que me regaló la vida. Canta selva, canta, pinta, cielo pinta, es mi Dios de las alturas que me dio amor y vida. Ama quien te amo, fuerza, fortaleza, vida, en momentos de agonía, mi diosa mucha guía. Le canto a la vida, a la luz y la esperanza, le canto a la selva y al bejuco del viaje, le canto al misterio que se siente y se ve, le canto a mi Dios porque es luz y esperanza. Que viene mucha sabiduría. y la esperanza. Le canto a la selva y al bejuco del viaje. Le canto al misterio que se siente y se ve. Le canto a mi Dios porque es luz y esperanza.
We'll do one or two more. We'll do a song to celebrate the tobacco, the key ingredient in the hape.
Tengo un amigo poderoso. Él es como un niño anhelito precioso. Limpia mis pulmones, también limpia mis bronquillos. Por eso yo le canto las versas más hermosas. Tabaquito de mi vida, medicina poderosa, te llevo en el alma, mis sentidos te adoran. Yo te quiero, yo te amo, armonizas mis palabras, tú vibras en mi cuerpo. Va conmigo derechito, derechito al infinito. Hermanito, angelito que me ayuda, tabaquito, tabaquito. Si es a ti, Padre, por crearle el hermanito, angelito que me ayuda, tabaquito, tabaquito. Yo tengo un amigo poderoso. Él es como un niño angelito precioso. Limpia mis pulmones, también limpia mis bronquillos. Por eso yo le canto las versas más hermosas. Tabaquito de mi vida, medicina poderosa, te llevo en el alma, mis sentidos te adoran. Te quiero, yo te amo, armonizas mis palabras, tú vibras en mi cuerpo. Va conmigo derechito, derechito al infinito. Gracias a ti, Padre, por crearle el hermanito, angelito que me ayuda, tabaquito, tabaquito.
Beautiful.
So happy to play for all of you. How are we doing on time, Maria? Do you want me to play another one?
Will you do another one, guys?
Hi.
Thank you all so much. I just want to send a prayer that in this connection connection with this sacred plant medicine. You may feel the essence of nature inside and outside. God bless you all.
Abre el corazón, las ventanas, cuando empieza la mañana, porque si quieres hoy venir. Eres como el viento que no avisa, cuando sopla trae la brisa, ven y sopla sobre mí. Y mi corazón vuelve a latir y seré nueva si estás aquí. Y mi corazón vela por ti, porque te espera, vuelve a venir. Abre el corazón y las ventanas cuando empieza la mañana, porque si quieres oír venir. Eres como el viento que no avisa, cuando sopla trae la brisa, ven y sopla sobre mí. Y mi corazón vuelve a latir y seré nueva si estás aquí. Y mi corazón vuela por ti, porque te espera, vuelve a venir. Espíritu de Dios, ven a mi vida, como lluvia que tardó y el desierto vida dio. Desciende sobre mí como la brisa que destile sobre mí, tu poder en mí haz florecer. Abre el corazón y las ventanas cuando empieza la mañana, porque si quieres hoy venir. Eres como el viento que no avisa, cuando sopla trae la brisa, ven y sopla sobre mí. Y mi corazón vuelve a latir y seré nueva si estás aquí. Y mi corazón vela por ti, porque te espera, vuelve a venir.
Thank you so much for having us here to share some music with everyone.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you.
Yara. Thank you, little baby Ariel. So beautiful.
God bless you all.
Love you.
Real quick, Michael, while you're there, we're going to pull up somebody right now who's very special to us. Who's her birthday. We get a little feliz cumpleaños, Michael. That'd be great. For Jocelyn. Happy birthday, Jocelyn.
Happy birthday, beautiful. We love you so much.
Birthday to you. Happy
birthday
to you. Happy birthday, Jocelyn. Happy birthday to you.
Love you, Jocelyn. And
Rainbows all around you. Beautiful in return. Beautiful
birthday.
sister. Thank you so much, Michael and Yara. God bless you guys.
Ciao.
Bueno, we're going to let's give a little honor. I will always give honor if we do it consciously, but just take a little moment. We'll just take a little moment to offer a prayer in honor of life, in honor of all our ancestors. Sometimes we think, I'm white, and somebody else's ancestors maybe are black, maybe from Africa, or maybe from an island. Or we say, somebody's ancestors are indigenous, and then we think less of our ancestors. But that's not what Taita Juanito teaches. Taita Juanito teaches that our ancestors are all one, because the tapestry of life is one woven creation by the Creator. So all our ancestors have done spiritual work. Where's the proof that we're here on a spiritual path? As Taita Juanito says, we're here just remembering the memory of our ancestors. So this has already happened. It's already been done. The ancestors have done their work. And so honor to all our ancestors that are the ancestors of humanity, the elders that have guided us here. So I'll do this in English. Sometimes I usually pray in Spanish, but okay. So thanking all our ancestors first that have done the work, that have opened the paths for us to be here. Giving thanks to nature for opening the path to our brotherhood and our sisterhood with her. And above all, thanks to our great Creator, the Great Spirit, the Divine Mother, and the Sacred Father that have given us life. We take this moment, we take this breath to honor life, to honor the big and the small, knowing that it's all important, to honor the path of forgiveness, to honor the path of gratitude. We take this moment in prayer to consciously open our hearts, inviting the Holy Spirit, the Great Spirit, the Spirit of creation, into the deepest chambers of our heart. We ask that this prayer be for unity, be to serve us as individuals, to serve us as a planet, to serve us as a race, where there is no color, where there is no language, where there's only love. That this gathering be a seed in our lives that germinates into great truth, into great prosperity, into a fulfillment of the greatest purpose with the greatest passion. We pray that we may live every life intensely, that out of every day we take 3 and 4 days out of it, and that we do it in love, being able to release all things of the past that no longer serve us without resentment, releasing them into light with love. We ask that all those that may have been hurt by us give us forgiveness, and that we may forgive anyone that we feel has hurt us, that we may come to the ultimate realization that no hurt ever took place, that everything has been a lesson. And we pray, Great Spirit, that you give us the wisdom and the fertilizer to take these lessons and make them abundant, sweet fruit in our lives, born of great trees that offer sweet shade. We put in service our mind, body, and soul to you, Great Spirit, that we may fulfill our highest purpose according to your design. We give thanks to the ancestors. We give thanks to nature. We give thanks to our celestial Mother and Father, who always let us know that we have never been alone, that we will never be alone, that the angels and nature are always with us, that we're here for one another as humans, as a race, as brothers and sisters. We give thanks for our nutrition, for our clothes. We give thanks for the prosperity of life, for the opportunity, my Creator, that we can dialogue with you and speak to you as close, intimate lovers, as the dearest and most intimate of friends. We pray for all our brothers and sisters in the world right now. We pray for all those that cannot eat in their mind, in their body, in their soul, that they be fed, and their hearts be open to love, and that we may all grow in an intimate, personal relationship with our Creator, with one another. We give thanks in the name of all the great masters and all the great teachers. We give thanks in the name of one another. I love you all. Thank you so much for being here with us and sharing this radical experience called life. We travel at over 67,000 miles an hour or around the sun on a rock, and we do it together. And here we are now doing it together in love and with purpose, and I'm really honored to be a part of that. So awesome. Thank you so much. Make it epic. ¿No ya? ¿Usted va a cantar?
Sí.
Okay, so now we're going to be blessed by some music. And so she's going to get her guitar ready and pull everything up. So get ready for that. And then after that, we're closing, right? Okay, so Mariah's going to sing for us a little bit. And then we learned something very interesting the other day. Taita Juanito blessed us with the opportunity to work with a Witoto elder. These are the Mambay people. And I had made a mistake out of ignorance, not knowing, but he taught a very important lesson. We never close, he said. He said that a sharing is like a weaving. We just put the needle down and we come back to it when we come back to it. So here we have Mariah.
Hold that, and thank you all again for being here together in celebration of this beautiful gift called life. I'm going to share a few songs here with you all. Start with one that Carlos and I actually wrote together for Tabaquito, our sacred tobacco, ally, friend, and guide. Aliado de mi alma. another glass, we'll enter a little deeper together in celebration, in communion, in purification, in healing, of His healing power that soothes our hearts and nourishes our souls. We give praise. We give praise. We give praise. En el bosque de Dios, respirando de vino aliento, junto frutas de
ounces. I gotta say, celery favorite. Good,
Seeds of love. Izquierda, izquierda, izquierda. Si ya escuchaba, el cielo está abierto, la tierra está avanzando, las aguas están respirando. Izquierda, izquierda, izquierda. Si ya escuchaba, abre tus ojos y ve la belleza. Anoche soñé que una gran puerta se abrió. Yo caminaba en el bosque de Dios, respirando de vino aliento, comiendo frutas de la luz, sembrando semillas del amor. Nadaba en el río con los ancestros, que secaba con los rayos del sol. Gaviotas, águilas volaban, bajo sus alas el viento cantó. Awaken, 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 listen, listen, listen. Heaven's open, earth is dancing, the waters are whispering, oh, oh. Izquierda, izquierda, izquierda. Escucha, escucha, escucha. Abre tus ojos y ve la belleza. Ah, ah, de mi mano tomó. La historia de la creación me enseñó. Segundo por segundo pude ver cómo todo vino a ser.
I'll sing one more song with you all, Taita Curandero, calling forth the Taitas, the shamans, the healers, from all of the lineage, to come and guide us, to come and protect us, to come teach us. And may we all feel the presence of the jungle within our hearts, wherever we are in the world. Remember that Pachamama, our Earth Mother, is always here. She lies within our hearts. And all we have to do is call upon her and open our hearts to receive. Taita curandero, taita curaca, senchi taita inti, amo gente linda. Taita curandero, taita curaca, senchi taita inti, amo gente linda.
Thank you.
No, we're still there. We're good. Bueno, ya nos vamos. Thank you so much for being here with us. We love you. May God bless
Love
you.
you
May God
too.
keep you. May God protect you always. Thank you.
Thank
What a
you.
blessing to get to come together in community in this way. And so we thank you from the depths of our hearts, because to have tribe, to have companionship on this path is such an honor, and it makes the path, the journey, so much sweeter for all of us. So we love you. We thank you. We are always here for you as your Four Visions family, as your Hape suppliers, as your friends, as your allies, whatever you need. We're just a message away. So please reach out, and we will let you know about the next opportunity.
Yeah, we're doing soon. We're doing a lot of questions that went unanswered.
We'll get to
We'll
those.
circle back to those for sure.
Mhm.
Bueno, have a glorious day.
Uh-huh.
Make it